Hello everybody and welcome back to Football Manager 2023, the beta save. I'm still very excited that this is here. Now we've moved on a couple of days since the first episode in the game, and yeah, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it now because we're Newcastle. Spoilers, I guess, if you can go by the thumbnail, then yeah, maybe look at the thumbnail in a bit more detail. I think it's pretty obvious, but in the last episode we decided probably central midfielder is probably where we're going to strengthen the squad as the most. This is the lineup that we thought of said would start the season, potentially. And we're looking at freeing up Bruno Guimaraes to not be so defensive. So potentially looking at either a defensive midfielder that can fill in, probably replace Joe Willock, or something else I thought of is maybe a more attacking midfielder. That means Guimaraes can stay in this sort of midfield role, but as a playmaker looking up towards an attacking midfielder. So that's what we're going to go with today. We're going to try and see who we can scout, what we can do, and who we can look and potentially get involved with, really. So if we go into our scouting centre, we do have some feedback already from our scouts, which is interesting. Now, I'm not really interested in the 30-year-old centre-back, so we're going to go into the list and see it all here. Let's sort by who they recommend the most, which is Giovanni Di Lorenzo from Parthenope, which is definitely not Lazio, I'm going to say. That is definitely not Lazio. Di Lorenzo, then, is a 28-year-old right-back, which is not really positioned. If anything, we need left-back, which is the opposite to the right-back. James Maddison. Obviously linked with Newcastle in real life. I think they had a £50 million bid rejected? Man City want to buy him. Awesome. And Man United and Tottenham. So, now, James Maddison doesn't really... He would suit the attacking midfield role that we're potentially after. But if we do that, I still think we still need more of a holding midfielder. Now, Yuri Tielemans could be that man. But actually, defensively, he's probably not amazing. Tackling 12... where's positioning? Positioning 12. So in terms, because you'd want him to sit in front of the back four. So I guess he could do. Yeah, positioning's a little bit low. Everything else looks all right though. 29 to 43 million. Bayern, United, City, Madrid, and Barcelona. They are some big clubs. Let's ask his agent. Look, we're keen on signing Yuri Tielemans. He's keen on joining Newcastle. Good. Here's what would likely be done. 150 grand. Wages, I don't think is an issue. 29 to 43. A minimum fee release clause. Improve the training facilities. Improve the coaching team. And qualify for the Champions League in the next couple of seasons. Strengthen the first team squad and field. Probably would get away with it. There's no easy way to put this. Yuri Tielemans' demands in terms of his wages are far too high for the structure at the club. You and I both know that. With this in mind, on behalf, reduce them. I don't feel as either Yuri Tielemans' ability of his performance merit the level of playing time he's looking at. No, I don't think that's the issue. Would your client be open to simply having a higher basic wage instead of those kind of possible incentives? I have to say my client is very fair-minded and flexible. So yeah, but he's still got training facilities in there. With the movements, we are definitely approaching the right ballpark and still on the mindset that more can be done in the coming days and weeks. Requirement must also make you aware that there is both active and rumoured interest in Yuri. Suggest you move quickly. Okay, alright. I think let's... I'm tempted to get this done. Yuri Tielemans, I think, could be a great addition to the Newcastle lineup. I think it does fit more than James Maddison for what we're trying to achieve now. 25 million. Let's just use that as a sort of low ball starting offer. We're not even going to suggest it. We're going to fax it over to them and see if they get back to us with something else. I mean, James Ward-Prowse would be absolutely massive for us. Man City want him. Man City just want bloody everyone. James Ward-Prowse, him of Derby fame, if you know the old series from FM23. Again, marking's pretty terrible. Positioning's not the best. He's really not a defensive-minded player, but spraying those passes would be awesome. What does his agent say? What can I do for you? We're keen to sign James. He has his doubts about joining your team. 36 to 55 million. The wages are fine. Star player, training facilities, and coaching team. Okay, so the recurring theme I'm getting here is that our training facilities probably aren't that amazing. So let's improve our training facilities, and while we're there, let's do the youth facilities as well. Get them all done. Oh, yes, we sold Paul Dummett. I was like, why have I got negative criticism at the moment? We sold Paul Dummett. Yeah, he went to Brighton at £3 million. He wasn't going to play for us. So Paul Dummett's gone. He's not very good. And I'm more than happy to get that deal done. So, yeah, Paul Dummett has boosted our coffers by £3 million, which now means we have £43 million, not just 40 million. So, back to the scouting system then. So, looking at the list... Martinez in goal. We don't really need a goalkeeper. Charles Aranguiz. Now he's 33. He pretty much is exactly what we're looking for. Well, again, marking's a little bit low, but he is sort of what we're looking for. But at 33, I don't think that's sort of the right sort of journey to go down. What have we got here? Thomas Soucek from West Ham, 27. We know he's a giant. He'll be very good defensively. He is the sort of player that would definitely free up Bruno Guimaraes to do whatever the hell he wants. Why is that still in centimetres? I changed you. That's better. 6'4". Yeah, I feel like Thomas Soucek could be a decent... Man City, why do Man City want everybody? I mean, have Man City even transfer listed anyone? They must have such a big squad. Sergio Gomez is listed for loan. And I said... left back is a position I'm very keen to potentially improve on. I'm going to give him a... I like Sergio Gomez. I'm sort of putting the old Sunderland team back together, aren't I? So, yeah, they're not transfer listing anyone. I know they've got a small squad, but that's just how they work, isn't it? Ike Pozo, he used to be so good in Football Managers. He looks pretty turd now. Right, why am I looking at Man City? I don't want to sign any of Man City's players. Right, so Thomas Soucek is where we've got to. Alexis McAllister is a player I absolutely love in real life, but I don't think is going to be what we're after for this one. Meslier, a goalkeeper. We've got Luka Nemecha, Luke Thomas from Leicester. Now, Leicester are in a pretty bad financial state, I think. Juan Foyth. Who wants Juan Foyth? Loads of... Man City, obviously. Do Man City just want everyone? Arsenal, Leicester, Man City... Guido Rodriguez, £20 million from Man City. He's a holding midfielder. To be fair, if he's good enough for Man City, he's probably good enough for us. 28 years old. Why do Man City want him? Wilfred Ndidi is wanted by Man United and Bayern. Wilfred Ndidi. Oh, that could be very good fun. Who else have we got here in holding midfield? We've got Douglas Luiz from Villa. Not a bad little player. Douglas Luiz does have a bit of a, rogue side to him though, doesn't he? He does like to bend the rules a bit. Frank Onyeka from Brentford. I'm not sure he's the sort of level we want. Yeah, I don't think there's much really kicking around at the moment. So we have got our scouts out there looking for central midfielders to help us out in that sort of position. So Yuri Tielemans, we've got a bid in for Yuri Tielemans. I'm not against putting a little cheeky bid in for James Ward-Prowse, but we've got to make that money be as sensible as we can. I think we've got to be last as long as we can and be sensible with it. João Pedro for 30 million is something that I cannot stop taking my eyes off. 20 years old, a very, very good player. It would be such a big profit for Tottenham, tenfold profit for Watford. Not sure. Let me know down below. What do you think about transfers? Who should we be looking at? Who should we be trying to bring in? We're still trying to sell Mark Gillespie. Huddersfield won't put a bid in for him. Matt Ritchie has now lost all interest in him. Jacob Murphy, Sheffield United won't bid for him. Elliot Anderson is on loan. And Ryan Fraser has Everton. And I don't know if there's anyone at Everton that we could potentially do a, part exchange deal with, potentially. Like Decore would be good. Onana's in there. How much is Decore? 24 to 40 million. 29 years old. Do they have any... They don't... Wow. Everton have a really small squad, don't they? Everton have a really, really small squad. Okay. Loads of goalkeepers. 5 goalkeepers in their first team squad, although one of them's out on loan. Idrissa Gueye, not for sale, 32 years old. And Onana, 81 to 131 million pounds. Wow, okay. James Garner is obviously one that we could do, but they've only just signed him, so that's probably not going to happen. Then Tom Davies, he's never really rated him. Local boy for Everton, don't really want him. So it is looking pretty slim pickings, isn't it? It is looking pretty slim pickings for central midfield. So somebody has come to my attention. Scouts have come back. A+ to sign Sabitzer. £21 million would sit nicely in central midfield. Competition, or basically would replace Joe Linton. Lots of energy. Stamina is good. Fitness is good. Teamwork, work rate, off the ball, long shots. He's 28, but for £21 million, it's a high reputation player that I think we could definitely get involved. So let's say that we're keen to sell him. He doesn't want to join Newcastle under any circumstances. Wow, that is brutal. Brutal, Marcel. Brutal. Okay, so Aston Villa have made a loan approach for Ryan Fraser. Someone that I'm really not that fussed about, but I would rather actually just sell. So I'm wondering if we just go back to them and say, hey, give us £15 million. And he's yours, and they're happy with that. £15 million. Tielemans bid rejected. We are hopefully just about to get £15 million, though, for Ryan Fraser. So let's up this to 30. They can get more. Oh, they want an improved... What can we give them to just give them a bit of an improvement here? Let's go after goals. After he scored 20 goals, we'll give you £2.5 million. And if we win the FA Cup this season, we'll give you another $1 million. How about that? How about that? 33.5. So training facilities, nope. And youth facilities, nope. Follow up on your interest in Yuri Tielemans. I'm following up as you seem very interested in Yuri Tielemans last time we spoke. My client is still very interested in joining Newcastle. If he's joining Newcastle would benefit for his family financially. It's because the deal is important to us. I hope you follow up your interest with an offer. Otherwise, I might think twice before revealing all our demands to you next time you approach me. Wow, that's a new feature. The agents actually get back to you and tell you how annoyed they are. That's quite good. I do quite like that. And then recruitment, we're going for central midfielder. They're looking for English, Spain, Premier Division. We're looking in the Championship. Not too sure why. But yeah, that is an option there. So places we can really improve then. Central midfield, we already know that. Basically replacing Joe Willock and Joe Linton in there is the key. Maybe Miguel Almiron, I think, could be upgraded on that right-hand side as an inverted winger. The back four, I'm not actually too worried about. I think that back four is going to be pretty solid. Maybe a centre-back for Dan Burn as we progress through the transfer window. Striker, left wing, totally fine. Goalkeeper, totally fine. I don't think we have to worry about any of that. So maybe right winger. Maybe let's go and have a look at that. Okay, so we're going to go into the scouting system. We're going to go into the recruitment focus, and we're going to set up a new focus. We're going to go right wing. I don't really mind if they're an inverted winger or not. We're going to go current ability, sort of like 4 stars. I think we need them to be as best as they can. Then potential ability 4-star at a minimum. 15 to, let's go. If we can find someone that impacts our team now, I'll take a 30-year-old. Any area? No, any area. I don't mind where you search. We're going to make that a top priority as well. We'll get any analyst, any scout on it. Set them in proficiency, playing the role as good. Very good. And any role. Yeah, any role. We'll take anyone on that right wing. So we now have 2 priority targets there and this AMC one, which I didn't make. They've just put it as a standard priority for now. I think this Championship one we're going to cancel. I'm not fussed about that. Don't mind England and Spain. In fact, if we're doing England, we don't then need one focusing on the Premier League. But in attacking midfield, so Jared Bowen is there in attacking midfield, who could be very good on that right wing. Man City, obviously, and Man United looking at Jared Bowen. That's an interesting one. Yeah, okay. So Jared Bowen could be interesting. Trossard is in this attacking midfield as well, more of a left-sided player. What have they found in terms of central midfield? Tielemans, Ward-Prowse and Didi, Guido Rodriguez, Soucek, Douglas Luiz, Joshua Silva and Frank Onyeka. Yeah, okay. I quite like this as a little thing as well, that you can do your focus over here and just quickly flick through them. So in England, they found quite a few players, obviously, that they think would be decent for us. Which is good. Now, Anthony Robinson as a left-back. I'm not against that. I'm not against Anthony Robinson as a left-back. He's a good little player. And then in Spain, Robin Lenormand at centre-back, which is, big fan of that, if we could get him in. Karim Rekic at Sevilla. You got Denje Dukunama at Getafe, who's 30. Mandy, who's 30. And Ruben Vezo at Levante, who's a centre-back. Okay, so we've got the scouts out there doing their thing. We're going to see what happens there. 58 days left of the transfer window. And yeah, I think we just let the scouts do it, really. I'm trying to play Football Manager a bit more realistically, I think, in 23 this year. So I'm hoping to use this beta save as sort of a setup to how I'm going to run my long-term save, which will be a bit more around the scouts doing the work to find the players, a bit more around, well, and obviously you guys recommending them as well, but we'll get the scouts to judge them and we'll go on the scouts' recommendations and using it a bit more like that, not going silly with money, not basically playing a system that I think would suit the players we have, how I want to play, trying to avoid, and I say trying to avoid anything that is like OP is how I want to play the game this year. And I feel like we're starting off in a good place with Newcastle because we've got money to spend and we've got a half decent squad, but we are going to play it, or I'm going to play it as I want to play it. So the chances are we're not going to stay on cautious, because as we learn the tactic and we see how it plays, we'll be mixing some of these things up. And if you've been a long-term viewer of the channel, you'll understand what I do with my tactics and how I like to implement them and how I like to make things work. So hopefully you'll get all of that in this series with a bit more realistic sort of transfers and use of the backroom staff and stuff like that. So if that interests you, let me know down in the comments below. But let's crack on for a little bit longer in this episode. Okay, so Leicester have come back to us with a negotiated offer here for Yuri Tielemans. They want 6 million after 50 league appearances, 2.5 million after 20 goals, 1 million if we win the FA Cup this season. And they want 30 million up front with 20% of the next profit, 39.5. I'm just wondering if we can just knock them down. Let's knock them down to 11 as the starting fee, 35.5 million. So now they want more after internationals. Well, after 20 games, we'll give you... I don't mind paying a little bit more in the long term, because Yuri Tielemans is going to be very good for us, I think. And we'll knock that down. So 38.5 million. They're happy with that. I'm happy with that. 11 million up front. I think that could be very, very good. We could be signing... He has considerable interest in negotiating terms. There are more appealing options. I mean, Man City, Man United and Bayern. He doesn't want to join Man United or Bayern, but does want to join Man City. Okay, so let's go into the negotiations then. I know all of this. You don't have to tell me any of this. So, right. Yeah, finish that. So, allow the player to treat the club as a stepping stone. That just means include a minimum fee release clause. And let's get rid of the training one. And then say you're going to be a star player. Let's see if that... Yeah, so he's happy with that, which is fine. I'm happy to include a minimum fee release clause as well. 50 million sell-on fee. You ain't getting a sell-on fee, son. I'm keeping all of that profit. And other than the bit that has to go to Leicester. And a yearly wage rise. I don't do yearly wage rises, mate. Really sorry. I don't do them at all. So 50 million is the... Why is there a limit? Oh, minimum fee by the agent. Okay, 50 million's fine. 8 million signing on fee. Let's knock that down a little bit, but we will give you a little boost in what you want. We'll knock your agent price down. 5-year deal is fine. Qualifying for the Europa League, you can get 500,000. Winning the FA Cup will give you 500,000. Appearance fee, 30 grand. And an unused substitute fee. Well, I can't imagine you're going to be on the bench too often. So let's put that to 14. Suggest that. He wants 195. He wants his agent fee to go back up. He wants qualifying for the Champions League. No, that's going to be that. That's going to be 30 for that. Let's get you down to 185 and we'll knock your agent fee down a little bit. Everyone's happy. Looks like we're signing Yuri Tielemans, which is absolutely awesome. As Man City are just spending so much money. They're in for Ismail Benacer from AC Milan. They're in for Pavard as well. They're in for Pavard, 26.5 million rising to 37. Oh my God, Man City absolutely splashing the cash, which is ridiculous. Oh, Sander Berge. 12 million for Sander Berge. That sounds good, doesn't it? That does sound good. We'll give him a scout. I don't know if that's going to get done in time. He may have moved to Southampton by then, which could free up one of Southampton's central midfielders. But it looks like early on in the transfer window, there's going to be quite a lot of moves. As Torino are moving for Giroud, which is just odd. Milivojevic is out. James Ward commits a future to Crystal Palace. Allardyce wants the Bournemouth role. Solanke's good form creates dual nationality battle. There's quite a lot happening here. Interesting. So I guess towards the end of the video, it would only be fair if I looked at some players that you have recommended. And interestingly, one of them is Benacer, who we're not going to be able to get because he looks like he's moving to Man City. So Ismail Benacer, we don't know too much about him, but we do know he's probably moving to Man City pretty soon. We also had, well, this is a guy that I think I've signed on a previous Football Manager, and Maxence Quickart, there he is, 22 years old, so we'll give him a scout from Olympique Lyonnais. He does fit the positions we want, so thank you very much for that recommendation. We've also got Scott McTominay. We'll give him a scout just so that we can see what he's like. Would be a good signing, 25 to 30 million. I mean, for the energy he would bring, it might not be too bad. Is he even interested in moving to us? Player is very keen on joining Newcastle. Between 24 and 30 million. With a little bit of wage. Noteworthy player. Central midfielder with ball-winning role. Now, that is interesting. I'm going to say that his wages are too high. Yeah, so he's lowered his wages. I'm thrilled. Do we bring in Scott McTominay? Let's make an inquiry of Man United and just see what they say. Next up in terms of recommendations was Moises Caicedo from Brighton. Again, we'll give him a scout. We know that he's come on the scene this season with Brighton needing a holding midfielder after losing Basuma to Spurs. And yeah, he stepped up pretty well. So let's see how he looks when the scouts get back to us. And the last one was Ibrahim Sangare, who we are going to scout as well. Good central midfielder option there. Good work rate, good stamina as well. Again, lots of rumours around him at the beginning of the season and in the transfer window in real life. So let's see how he goes. But thank you so much for them. Any recommendations that you leave on the first video that I haven't seen yet, I will have a look and get scouts on them for you guys so that we can see them. But I think we're going to leave it there. Shall we go forward and see if Tielemans signs? Maybe we will. So the scout reports have come back on two other players. James Ward-Prowse, sign whatever the price. Obviously would be a very good player, but I feel like if we get Tielemans, we probably don't need James Ward-Prowse. The other one is Granit Xhaka. Would be a quality signing for a B rating. 29 years old. We know he's... I quite like Granit Xhaka. I think he gets a bad sticker by some Arsenal fans. But I quite like Granit Xhaka. I'm tempted to just say... Let's approach his agent. Let's see what they want. Look, we're keen. We'd just like to know more. He does some interest in joining Newcastle. He'd like to do business. I'm not going to reveal too much. 43 to 52 million. 115 grand a week to 160. Star player. Preferred musician role as a central midfielder. And would likely gain a work permit. Right, those wages are far too much. Let's be honest. My client isn't going to significantly water down his wage demands at any stage of negotiations unless the overall financial package does enough to redress the balance accordingly. Okay. All right, we'll take that into consideration. Apparently, we're now interested in Xhaka. Wow, okay, so the agent... We went to the agent, and then the agent's gone to the press and said, by the way, I think Newcastle, you might want to run a story that says Newcastle are interested in my player. Right. Well, Steve Rice, who represents David Luiz and Kasper Schmeichel, and an ageing Asmir Begovic and Batshuayi. He's sort of got a lot of second-rate players, although Ivan Toney is on there. Okay, he doesn't. Jude Bellingham, Fofana, Xhaka, Pedro Porro. He's got quite a lot of really good players. Oh, Mikel Olise. And Caicedo. Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. Granit Xhaka. Down below. Do we want to bring in Granit Xhaka, the steely midfielder that we can use to, put some aggression on the pitch? Let me know down below. So Man United have come back to us. They want 30 million straight up cash for Scott McTominay. So I'm going to, for now, reject that. I want to read your comments and understand what you feel about that. So Scott McTominay, rejected. Ryan Fraser is looking like he's moving to Aston Villa, so we'll accept that one and get £15 million for a winger that we weren't going to use. But it does mean that right wing is getting a little bit... It is getting a little bit short, isn't it, in terms of players that we can put out there? Because it's now Almiron, Jacob Murphy, or Matt Ritchie, who I really don't want to keep. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We probably do need a right winger. That's your next thing to get in the comments below. I'm asking you to put loads in there this episode. Right wingers. Get me some right wingers to go and look at with scouting reports. So Yuri Tielemans has been granted his work permit and he is going to sign for Newcastle. £26 million. What was it? 11 million up front, I think it was. So I'm very happy with that. I think that's a good deal to bring in. And we've made our first signing as Newcastle boss, and it is Yuri Tielemans from rivals Leicester City, which is awesome. We get two compliments of that, planned signing and a hashtag done deal. And yeah, I'm hoping that's going to... Pleased to sign a player of calibre of his importance. Squad is now overloaded with midfield orchestrators. Don't you worry about that. We're going to make that one work. Kieran Trippier can put his arm round and we can say, welcome Yuri Tielemans. Thank you for that. And we will leave that episode there. with the signing of Yuri Tielemans. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Leave all your comments down below about things I've asked, anything you want me to go and look at, anything that you're interested in Football Manager 2023, especially in the beta save, while we all get into grips with the new features. But for now, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.